allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gary Lewis, come on up for the Human Rights Commission. Tell us a little bit about it yourself again and why you want to serve.
Hi, everybody. It's my third time up here in front of you. I'm starting to get the feeling that you guys just want to see me every 6 months.
Yeah, we like you just that much.
I don't blame you, but first time I was up here, I gave you my speech, told you about my family and our dedication to civil rights, human rights. Last time, Julie tried to rope me into a cage fight with Terry Parrish McGavin. Yep. Today, it started dawning on me. I don't know if everybody on the board is aware, council, that I've been fighting long COVID for the last almost 2 years, and it has directly affected a lot of the things that I'm able to do, but that doesn't affect my ability to serve on this board, and it has also woke me up to a lot of inconsistencies in civil rights and human rights that a lot of people don't know about, that I didn't know about. I've got a new understanding of what it's like for disabled people trying to get through the system. And once again, I'm just going to close by saying, before I ramble all day, that you don't got anybody on this in this town that wants to be on this board more than me. There's nobody in this town that wants this more than me. I don't want it more than anybody else, maybe, but they don't want it more than me. And don't try to get me into a fight with the next person either. So anyway, that's it. You got any questions? I'd be glad to answer them.
I don't have a question, but I have a statement.
What's that?
For you.
Okay.
I think this is a really good thing for you.
What, standing up here making jokes at you guys?
No, I think that the HRC is a good spot for you. I do. I think it's something that you can physically do. You can go once a month.
Yep.
It's perfect.
Yep, and I want it.
We can tell.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. Stay close.
Thanks, Gary.
Go to the consent agenda, items 3 through 14C. Consider them to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote's asked for. You want to come up and speak, come up as I read that item. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Reading of the June 17th City Council minutes. 4 is a resolution approving a schedule of fees for P&Z and rescinding resolution number 2015-0294. Just one question. A sign deal now costs $350. What exactly does that entail? Because that's a rather substantial fee for just reviewing signs.
Chris Madgen, planner. Sign design program is essentially site plan for signage, which does require planning and zoning commission approval. That's where the site, whether it's a campus or just a site that's very difficult, may request to go through that program. For instance, Mercy Medical Center did go through that. They had about 100 individual signs on their campus.
That $350 is for one of those large ones, or is that if I just want to put a sign on my building?
Only for the large campuses.
5 is a resolution amending community development's authorized personnel complement by extending 2 temporary neighborhood services project coordinator positions. 6 is a resolution authorizing final payment to Steve Harris Construction of the highway reconstruction project. 7 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of insurance for the Cone Park Mountain Bike Park. Amend the resolution for the purchase price to be $25,849.60. Move that.
Second.
Call the roll on the amendment, please.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
8 are actions related to grants. A is a resolution authorizing a publication and a request of release of funds and certification of environmental review for the Community Development Block Grant Program. B is a resolution awarding a grant and approving an agreement to the warming shelter. I'm not going to vote for this. I didn't vote the last time. I'm not, but I just want to remind the council that when we did this in the budget hearing, the discussion was a motion directing funding to the neighborhood services with direction of an agreed amount planned to utilize the funding being reviewed and approved by the council. It was never for a direct funding.
And And actually, Mayor, with that, because I believe I was the one that made that motion in the
You
budget
did.
hearing.
Right.
And it was my understanding to know kind of what this gift would open up or what it would be matching towards. Because what I was directing staff was, if this is going to go towards this organization, I didn't want it to just be less than one fiscal year. It was my hope that it was opening up a greater opportunity, whether that was for a grant, and matching funds that would open up, or if it was, some type of donation. I was analyzing the homework and and it basically said it was going to be used towards a matching gift with the hope of, a fundraising campaign getting to 200,000. And that to me signaled that it was just 50 grand being used to access another 50 grand, which I, again, don't think, while I think that is a good thing to get another $50,000 towards that, I don't think it's necessarily enough to focus on any long-term planning or commitment. I did reach out to the director for clarification as to what that funding would open up or what that $50,000 would be used towards, because I wanted some assurance that it was going to be more long-term solutions than just what you're worried, I think, that it is, which is just giving them the access to the 50, and I didn't receive a response. So therefore, I'm fine deferring until I get further clarification that would make me comfortable voting for this, or unfortunately, I would have to agree and not be supportive at this time.
She sent a letter to us. That's in the
It was to get this match to 200,
100,000.
right.
Because it says they're committed to raising 200,000. We will use this 50 as a match towards our goal. So that to me just says it's they're using the 50 as part of a fundraising campaign.
So if they don't get to the 200, they wouldn't get the 50,000 then.
That's not the way, the agreement doesn't stipulate that. The agreement says it's matching a $50,000 contribution.
I really thought it was matching a $200,000 contribution.
That's where I tried getting more clarification, and I didn't
Do you
receive.
want to move
Table.
to,
I would move that we defer this item for 1 week.
second?
Scott. Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
C is a resolution approving a grant agreement from the Federal Aviation Administration for snow removal equipment for the airport. 9 are actions relating to street closures. A is a resolution temporarily closing various downtown streets for the Mardi Gras Big Parade. B is a resolution temporarily closing various downtown streets for the historic 4th Street Classic Car Show and Cruise. 10 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Highway 75 Regional Stormwater Improvement Project. B is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Business Highway 75 turn lanes and new street paving improvement projects. 11 are actions relating to agreements and grants. A is a resolution adopting a consulting services agreement with FEH Design for the Tyson Events Center roof replacement project. B is a resolution approving a contract to T.R. Harris Construction for the Les Hills Scenic Trail project. C is a resolution approving a consent and joinder for the First Amendment to grant of a storm sewer drainage easement for the city's regional detention pond. 12 are applications for cigarette, tobacco, nicotine vapor permits. 13 are applications for beer and liquor license. 14 boards and commission and committee minutes. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Passes 5-0. 15 is an ordinance rezoning 5901 Stone Avenue from zone class NC1 to zone classification NC3. P and Z recommends approval. First consideration approved June 17th. I'll move second.
Second.
Anyone to be heard? Passes 5-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
Move it.
Second.
Waters?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
O'Kane?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye. 16, an ordinance vacating Marquette Avenue, Meek Avenue, Newell Avenue, Niobrara Avenue, and MacArthur Street. P and Z recommends approval. First consideration was approved June 3rd. Second was approved June 10th. Motion was to defer till June 17th. Now a motion is requested to delete.
Don't we have to take a vote on that? We just waived the rules.
Oh, all right.
On the third read.
Okay, I'll move third reading. Sorry.
Second.
Moore?
Aye.
O'Kane?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Now on 16, I'll move that deletion.
Second.
O'Kane?
Aye.
Shaner?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
17 is a hearing and resolution approving an electrical easement on property at 18, hard to understand that, 838th Street. The petitioner is Mid-America Energy. I'll move that.
Second.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 800.
It's 800, but they've got, mine's not done right is all. All right. Hearing now open. Anyone to be heard? Hearing is closed. Passes 5-0. 18 is a hearing and resolution approving a proposal to sell certain real property, authorizing a city deed. The vacated east-west alley adjacent to 1313 13th Street, 3313 13th Street, and 1229 Cornelia Street. The petitioner is Edith Cassidy. The purchase price is $816 plus costs. Their numbers.
You want to, did you move it?
I moved it, yeah.
I'll second.
No, the public hearing's yet open. Anyone to be heard? You got me all mixed up. Gave me the wrong numbers.
I'm not looking at my sheet, so we're getting confused.
Don't give the wrong numbers to a numbers person.
Yeah. Hearing's now closed. Yeah, kind of threw me off. Well, just one number off, so I got it. Passes 5-0, but that's your 19 now. 19 is a hearing and resolution approving the sale of property adjacent to 1109 West 26th Street. The petitioners Griselda Lemus and Emily Magana. I'll move that.
Second.
Hearing's now open. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, the hearing is closed.
Dun, 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 dun.
Drum roll.
Didn't come up. Was it
Oh,
5-0? Okay.
Oh, we might.
sorry.
Okay.
Yep. All right, Reagan Cody, Executive Director of Downtown Partners. Thanks again for having me, Mayor and Council, tonight. I'll try and make this brief, as I know everybody's busy. And hats off to all of our volunteers and first responders today working for the efforts for the flood. So we do appreciate that. It was kind of hard coming up with such good stuff to then think of what we're going through right now. So I will do my best to go through. The image on the top is, yes, it's a stock photo, but that's what our board meetings really look like if they'd let me take pictures. Stacy Anderson is our current president. Matt Rixner is our vice president. Nicole Berner is our treasurer. These will change over July 1, and we will elect a new executive committee. And that means we also earn 3 new board members. So starting July 1st, we will welcome Jeff Hansen from McClure Engineering. We will welcome Mark Prosser. He's a downtown resident that has been working closely with a lot of our efforts. And Mark Hines with Hines and Associates as our CPA. We will, however, say goodbye to Jason Allen, Aaron Keel, and Angie Schneiderman, who have finished their second term, so have been with us since 2018. So they're ending their terms and can no longer move on. The fiscal year budget, as you can see, we work with about $500,000 in our budget, and this is just a majority of where the pieces go. A large majority, over 40%, does go to downtown projects, and then in operating and business support, marketing, events, and partnerships is fairly low just because they are partnerships, so we're able to get a lot more done with little. Social media is really where we highlight a lot, and Tracy's here in the crowd, so she is to thank for a lot of that. This was our top downtown post over on the right this last year. It was to welcome Boathouse from over on Pierce Street. But looking at numbers, we compare January through June when we come here this time of year for you. Our impressions are up, our engagements are down. And just so you remember, impressions, they've seen it, engagements, they actually share it. We've seen this across the board on our socials, so nothing too much to worry about. As you can see, our number 1 and number 2 posts are all about welcoming new business to downtown. So that's been the theme lately as we welcome back Little Chicago Deli and some others, new businesses in the area. Elizabeth, unfortunately, had a doctor's appointment. She is our new event coordinator. Elizabeth has been doing a great job, and we literally just threw her into the deep end of the pool here with June Jam and some other events that we've had. But Elizabeth moved into downtown in 2023, so she's a downtown resident and has been at a lot of our events, which is very helpful knowledge for her to have. So she's been involved in those downtown events. She's also coming to us with 12 years of experience in the planning industry for events. She's very passionate, and she's doing a great job as well. So kudos and hats off to her, as this is a very event-heavy presentation for you as we are in that season. Food Truck Fridays kicked off the first weekend in June. They've been doing great. They're over on Pearl Street Park. They run from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. With the fencing around the old Lamb Theater area, we have had some issues with parking and trying to keep them out of the new Benson Lofts area and some others, but people really are finding their way, and that's working itself out really well. So that area we've expanded a little bit to the other side of the street because we have a pretty good demand this year. We have on average 12 to 15 trucks on that day. We've also asked for if they're interested in Mondays, having some lunch options, even dinner options, or maybe going into the evening on some of those Fridays. We've had discussions on that as well. Another event that started and kicks off the season is Downtown Live. That started last week. That's at the museum lawn at 4th and Nebraska. This last one, due to the weather, which never really showed up, unfortunately, we do move it into the convention center when it rains. But boy, those things were just popping up, and you never do know. So please keep an eye out on social media for any changes there. But we've had some really good crowds up in the 250, 350s, and we've only had 2 shows. So everyone's really loving that. What we just witnessed this weekend was a really, really busy downtown, but in the best ways. So much to do on 622 was put together because we coordinated with the Farmers Market, Camp High Hopes for Rib Fest, and then we had 2 events here in downtown partners with June Jam and the Art Affair, all of which had great attendance. We did have a really nice turnout. We had nice weather. We've been receiving some great feedback for those events. I know a couple of you were down there, and I appreciate you attending. And then trolley service was running well. I think they cheered every time somebody got on and booed every time somebody got off. So they were having a good time down there. So it was fun. It was a great time. Coming up, we just have a whole list of events. Honestly, to check out our Facebook page and social media, we have the Rivercade Parade, Mardi Gras Greek Fest, the Classic Car Show. We have a couple art walks scheduled. The Battery Park has its concert series starting. We do have a new event, the Farm to Table Dinner. They're going to be taking down 4th Street between Pierce and Nebraska, and they're going to run a long table. It's run through the Sioux City Farmers Market. It's going to be a fundraiser for them, and it's usually done out at a farm, so they're doing it on the streets of downtown this year, which should be great. Art Splash, Downtown Tailgate, Alley Art Festival, and Marktoberfest. So a lot of things coming up. Some good news to share with you if you hadn't heard. It was a press release put out by the city. Big kudos to Era and her team and the Environmental Advisory Board, and to Gil Hauling for wrapping these. These recycling containers have been extremely successful downtown, I think better than anyone would have hoped. They're being used correctly, they're being dumped more frequently, so people are utilizing them in the best way. So far, we just started this in April, and over 13,000 pounds of clean recyclables are being put in the landfill. So that is off the streets of downtown, so it's greatly appreciated, and I'm glad to see it's going very well. So thank you for your help with that. Last but certainly not least, this time of year is our annual meeting. It is on Thursday. It's going to be at the Riviera Theater down at the RE/MAX City Center. We will start at 4:30 with a social hour, running things a little differently this year, a little bit more fun. So for an hour, we'll be having a social hour, and at 5:30, there will be a presentation with our board, welcoming our new members and highlighting a lot of the projects that you're going to see coming up through Downtown Partners. So I would welcome you for that. Any questions for me? I'm trying to make it
See
quick.
that there'll be a need for any more recycling containers, like in a year, or do you think that will?
The beginning of the program was in a hope to have commercial people actually get their own containers. It wasn't meant to be an overall, we're going to add 20 recycling units
Right.
downtown. It was meant to be a condition where people would start recycling commercially more and maybe get into the residential units. So the fact that they are being used, we know that they're needed. So hopefully some of those commercial properties do catch on board.
And we'll say during the Environmental Advisory Board meeting where Gil was there, Mr. Moore and I attended, and that was one of the things that they said about those containers specifically is initially there was a worry that they might be abused, and there might be trash thrown in them, and then they haven't found that. They found a lot of clean recyclables and being used appropriately, which is great to hear, and I'm going to knock on wood just to be safe. But I couldn't believe how many pounds of recyclables those garnered. That's a true achievement right there.
I'm glad we were getting calls to dump them. Really, that speaks volumes. Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
Great job.
Thank you. Citizen concerns, Robin Shiro.
Thank you. Thanks for all that you do again, once again. I appreciate all that you do for the community. I met with your Human Rights Commission staff members, and I guess that's a little concern that I have that I want to just bring to your attention, having been an elected official before myself. I found so many mistakes and errors in the issues that I started to note them and take them down. I'm going to leave you some documents here to show you. It became a concern to me because there was so many. I'm not perfect myself, I know that, and I make mistakes, and we all do. But when there were so many of them, I just think that maybe the city council might want to address either staff is either they're short of staff, they're being worked too heavily, or they don't understand maybe the process, and some training maybe is needed. So I just thought I'd bring that up to your attention, and thank you again for all that you do.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Matthew.
Well, I am just going to mention one thing this week is going to be the retirement celebration for Amy Cairns in neighborhood services. There's a lot around here. I don't think those are shoes that we're going to have filled anytime soon. I know we're all going to make sure that we let her know how important she is to us and how much we'll miss her. But that's the big event this week. It's a sad day, but also very happy for her too.
I agree with the Downtown Partners presentation that there's a lot happening around the city. There's always something to do. I was one of the attendees for some of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was well-maintained, well-managed. People behaved themselves, and there was just a lot to do. And I appreciate all the work that goes into putting this stuff on, from Downtown Partners helping them to plan new events, to the business owners and the brick and mortars for stepping up and getting outside of their brick and mortar, because that's not everyone's comfort zone, is to do something different on the street or whatever they may be providing. So I just appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to a summer full of activities and things for our citizens to do. Thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who was affected by the flood and that may be affected in the future. The city's going to do whatever we can to help.
I just wanted to mention a couple things. First and foremost, I did want to mention some of the weekend activities, whether it was I had a very busy Saturday bouncing around, just trying to go and support as many causes as I can in different events, Rib Fest, the Farmers Market, at Art Affair and June Jam. I was able to make it to all of those and just really thought it was, I appreciated how the public and community was able to come and support Camp High Hopes and have that. And then also just all those different other things. But I also think that June Jam downtown, one of the reasons I found it wildly successful was not only the public that came out to participate and support it, but also all of the area businesses that then benefit. You know, all of them are invited to come out and sell some of their goods or have areas outside of their shop so that people can relax and enjoy the live music and activities that are held outside. And I mean, there was a crazy high attendance, and it was through donors and through sponsors, we were able to offer that event for free to the public and welcome them out to have a good time. And then for them to be able to work with all of the different businesses to be able to capitalize on such a great crowd and bring people together, I thought was really powerful. And I appreciate all the people that went into making that happen. So I got to talk to some of them down there and thank them personally, but just wanted to report back that I'm glad that things like that are happening in our community. The last thing that I wanted to touch on also was just how concerned I am about the flooding. I've been trying to pay attention to this for quite a while now. As you all probably know, maybe not, I am from Okoboji in that area, and so I've been checking in with my parents and some of the stuff that's going on up there, and I can't help but pause and reflect of the loss and the devastation that's happening to the north of us, whether it's the Lakes area or Rock Valley or just a number of different communities, Akron and so on. But now it has reached our banks, and I'm thinking, and I think we all have been communicating diligently with staff regarding what our crews can do and the people that are able to assist them. I would say shout out to anyone that's assisting with those efforts in Riverside and otherwise, but I'm not going to try to go through the list because it's pretty exhaustive, whether it's our emergency services, our streets crews, parks and recreation, administrative staff, and beyond. I really appreciate everyone stepping up, because it's times like this that I think we need to continue to urge the public to stay safe and stay informed. I think that we will do our best to make recommendations in a timely manner. I think I joined the council or at least the mayor and I were talking about it earlier, and city manager, about our sense of frustration for information that wasn't accurate or that was always evolving, and we were trying to share as much as we could. But sometimes that's frustrating when the models are predicted or predicting incorrectly, and then we try to address them in real time. And so unfortunately, we are asking for people to stay safe, but also stay informed and reach out, check on your neighbors, and make sure that we all pull through this, because it's an extraordinary event. But extraordinary times call for extraordinary people to stand up for one another. And I really think that that we can be uplifting for one another as we go through these difficult times, because we all need to support and encourage one another, that's for sure. That's all I have, Mayor.
A couple things. I will agree with the comments that have been made about the flooding, and thanking city staff and all those who have worked very hard to make it safe for our citizens. I appreciate that the council members have been plugged into the process and trying to help as best we can. I especially want to thank Mayor Bob Scott, because the mayor has had experience with floods and knows a lot of the right things to do and the right contacts to make. And I appreciate that you did that on behalf of the city when it needed to be done. And timing is so important, but as you've stated, sometimes we don't get the up-to-date facts of what's going on, and we certainly don't want to spread rumors. But thank you, Mayor, for the hard work you've been doing. Lastly, I just want to remind everyone the discharge of fireworks are legal on Wednesday, July 3rd, from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. and on Thursday, July 4th, 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. I hope we can, as a community, as we come together working with the flood issues, of which there are many, I am hoping that with the discharge of fireworks, we can come together and not discharge fireworks until those two dates and during those two times. So, or the time period for 1 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. Pardon?
Can you repeat them one more time?
One more time. Wednesday, July 3rd, 1 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m., and Thursday, July 4th, 1 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. So making that plea with you, and I hope we can have a better year than prior years. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, I got about 3.5 hours sleep, so I'm going to move we adjourn so I can go take a nap, so.
Second.
Scott. Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Okay. See you. Thank you.